Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics Tuesday night Q&A ahead of round 22. Can you believe that? 22. We are only a couple of weeks away, folks, from the end of the season. So hopefully you're pushing towards the car or top 100 or top 1,000 or semi-finalers in your head-to-head leagues, and hopefully you can take out the crown or even a little bit of cash if your cash leagues, if you've got a little bit of cash on the side there. But I'm your host, Bales, and you can find me at BAILSDT across the socials. And I'm joined once again by a couple of my co-hosts and fellow AFL Fantasy Fanatics. And Jordox, I'll start with you, mate. How was your weekend? I think it would have started pretty nicely on the Friday night.
Yeah, Friday night was a good game of footy. I enjoyed that. Yeah, look, fantasy was all right. I was in a qualifying final in Real Dream Team in a league that I'm in. And that league is in its 21st year. So it's a fair bit of prestige and honour to win that league. And I'm through to the prelim. So come on.
Beautifully done, mate. Very, very nice to hear. And Jordy, mate, how are you? Obviously, we spoke to you about 48 hours ago, but have you been the last 48 hours?
Yeah, good. Same, really. Nothing's changed. Just keep an eye on the news and work out what to do with trades.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's an interesting week for trades. I think a lot of people can go in a lot of different directions. But we got the weekend recap from myself and Jordy on Sunday night. So Jordox will check in how your weekend was. Obviously, you said you won your draft semi-final in RDT. So if you want to take us through that, what sort of the scores were for that, but also then your fantasy team, what you scored, your round rank and your overall rank.
Yeah, so in AF, I scored 23.41, which isn't too bad. Got Grundy.
So you beat Guesty as well in the consolation cup in the
I did beat Guesty, and now he's too unwell for the pod tonight. Coincidence, or is he just embarrassed? Oh, I don't know. Just joking. I hope you're feeling better, Guesty.
He's got the flu, unfortunately, so hopefully he's okay. I'm not sure if he's caught what Connor Rosey got, but it'd be interesting because Connor Rosey is in Adelaide and Guesty's in Perth, so really interesting. But
seems unlikely. Yeah, so I had Grundy's VC, which was nice. Brought in Noah Anderson, thanks to your advice, Bales, which was great. But I also got rid of McKercher, which wasn't as great. Yeah, so where am I ranked? Came in by a few hundred spots, so sitting at 8190 as overall.
Yeah, top 7K, top 6, top 7, top 6K, something like that. That'd be pretty good considering you've had a pretty tough year, mate. So hopefully you can keep going forward. But yes, your draft, you said you're in the semi-final of your draft final. How much do you get the job done by?
Oh, in DT,
yeah.
The qualifier, I was playing the top team and he played it really well because, DT's got the 23rd player.
Yep.
So there was a bit of confusion. It's because it's the first season we've had it. There's a bit trying to work out which score drops out, but
and Rosie,
I had a good win.
It was.
I had Chera, Bergman, and then Rosie, and my opponent had Chera only. So yeah, but got the win, got the week off, and Keeper League finals start this week as well, and yeah, it's all happening. Love August. Lots of potential silverware to bring in.
Yep, exactly. Nicely done, mate. And normally the weekend recaps goes a little bit longer than that, but obviously me and Jordy did ours on Sunday night. So we will crack straight into a few super chats, which we've already got a couple of super chats here. So thank you to Tim and Sean. So Tim Ashworth's got the first one. Thank you very much, mate. The go to the super chats around here saying, hi, Jordy, Bales and Jordox. My rank dropped. Butters to Goulden, English to Grundy, Petrarca to Jezza have 136k in the bank. So I guess he's looking at two of those three moves. So Jordy, where would you go to if you had those choices? Butters to Goulden, English to Grundy, and Petrarca to Jeremy Cameron. If you had to pick two of the three trades, where would you go?
Jeez. Yeah, so Goulden hasn't got the greatest matchup this week against the Brisbane Lions. So I know it's quite tough at the Gabba for him, and he's obviously coming off a great score. So I'm not 100% sold on Goulden, but I do like Butters out. English to Grundy is pretty good because Grundy is going on a tear at the moment, and English is playing Gaunt. But I do really like Petrarca to Jezza because I think that's only like 6k. And I'm worried about Petrarca. I'd be interested to get your thoughts today on the Goodwin sacking, whether that helps Petrarca or is it actually going to not? Because, I don't know, I just have in my mind last week, Nasaya Wanganimilera, when he kicked that goal, do you see that Petrarca just had that look on his arms there, and he just, I don't know, it just looked like he was a little bit, it wasn't the best body language. And I'm wondering what's going on. There's a bit of trade talk. So I don't know whether it's going to help him or it's going to hinder him. So I'd be interested to hear your thoughts, because I think that could be if he comes out and gets a 70 and Jezza can kick 6 goals, that could be 50 points maybe. So that's probably the best one, I'd say. But then if Tim's doing that, that's only 6K. So he still have another 130K in the bank. So he could do something else there. Yeah. Well,
I'm actually get your this will tie in, because Josh, I want to get your thoughts on this as well. Is that because I personally need to go into Butters to Goulden, English to Grundy trades, because English has got Gorn, as you mentioned, Jordy, and then Grundy's obviously on the tear. I know obviously Tim's up there, and then Butters, I just want to get out of that at the moment. They've obviously got Freo this week. We saw Amira go to Hewitt last week, which I wouldn't have expected Hewitt to cop any attention from anyone, but here we are. So that could go towards Butters this week, and just with Port struggling so much. But there's one thing I noticed, Jordox, was in that game on Sunday, the Port Geelong game, when we saw Jezza score that 157 against North Melbourne, he was roaming up the ground and getting in amongst the action. Whereas we saw he was very much a stay-at-home forward. And I was talking to Taser about this, messaging him, and he was mentioning that, do we think that maybe Jeremy Cameron's just going to play really deep forward for the rest of the year to try and get as many goals as possible, meaning he could have a game where he only has like 12 touches, kicks 10 goals, and scores like a 105, 110. Like we've seen that before with players where they, even though they kick a big bag, like he scored 82 from 6 goals,
8
right?
touches.
And that's what I mean.
He had 8 touches.
Right? So do we think that, well, oppositions are going to put more attention because they're going to know Geelong are trying to find him? Is there a bit of a risk with Jeremy Cameron at the moment that maybe we're just going to grab him and we're going to get maybe not exactly what we're hoping for?
I think it's an excellent point. And I've been nervous about the Jezza move, since last week, because if you remember last year, he was a hot pickup in the last round of the season because they had someone. West Coast. So it made sense. But this is for those that jumped on after the 11 goals against North, it's a 4-week play, and that's 82 on the weekend's great, but you make an excellent point in terms of clearly where he was playing. He's had 8 touches for the game and kicked 6 goals, 1, which is phenomenal efficiency. Don't get me wrong, but I'd be a bit nervy about carrying him, going with him for the next few weeks, even though they're going to be kicking up and beating up on sides. The Petrarca question, Jordy, is a really good one too, because if this news, obviously Simon Goodwin's been moved on from the club. This news, before that news, I'd be pretty big on getting out of Petrarca. But now, I don't know. I feel like there's going to be a lot of not tension released, but like tension eased. But it feels like something had to change at Melbourne. And if it wasn't going to be the coach, perhaps a few players would be seeking elsewhere in the off-season. Now that the club's said it's the coach, some of those players might stick around, and it'll be very interesting to see what Chaplin does as caretaker. Does he put Petrarca on the ball and stop with this forward business, which might keep him in the summer, or does he continue with what they've been trying, which is Caleb Windsor on the ball and move Petrarca forward? So it's a very long-winded way of saying I don't know, because it's quite a unique situation. But I do tend to agree with your final thoughts there, Bales, with the Grundy one, yes, and I've forgotten the other one.
Goulden.
The Butters one. Yeah,
Butters.
I like Goulden.
Yeah, and I think that it's probably not not trading English, thinking that he's been bad. English has been a great pick, and he was probably
awesome.
the best starting ruck pick. And I wish that I did go there. I had him for a bit of the preseason, unfortunately, but I did have a lot of players in the preseason. That was a long time ago. But Jordy, just your thoughts, because you've considered Jeremy Cameron this week and looking at him. What are your thoughts on him before we move on to the next question?
Yeah, I do agree that it was a different sort of role on Sunday, but I did mention, Bales, you mentioned to me that Lockie Jones was a lot tighter on him. And, obviously Jezza came out and said it was like the first time he got tagged.
Yeah.
So the other thing is like you said, we've got a bit of data with the Essendon matchup. Like Sam Darcy kicked 5 goals and Norton kicked 5 goals, and they both went over 100. And that was 2 weeks ago. So it's like there's sort of a bit of data of key forwards going well. And yeah, I don't know. There's just something pulling me to like grabbing him. The good thing is you could even loop, because he's Friday night, you could just have that safety of putting the E on him. If something goes totally wrong, then you might have that second trade you can play around with. So I am strongly considering it. But I feel like everyone's thinking about this, and yeah, that's probably, it's good to think about different scenarios, I guess. But I don't know. He's on 75 goals. The thing about, did you see on the game, like Dangerfield just handballed it to him, and someone else handballed, and they just handballed it to him just to get him a goal. So they're obviously looking for him, and yeah, I don't know. I think that Richmond game, round 24, I think he's going to go nuts.
Yeah,
but it's just that game next week against Sydney is like, you got to have him for 3 weeks.
I think he's probably a really, really good F7 and a 23rd premium on the bench, but I'm not sure I want him, particularly for that Sydney game next week. That's not an easy game by any means, and I feel like he'd be a good 23rd primo, plays early this week, then you can maybe loop a forward next week, and if they fail, play Jezza next week. But then I think we're all going to be jumping on Jezza again like we did last year in round 24. So I think Jeremy Cameron's definitely an option to consider, but probably going to be team dependent. Where your team's at? Do you need to make up a decent amount of ground? Do you need like a big saw? Maybe that could sort of change your thinking there. We do have a super chat here from Sean. Thank you, mate. Saying, hey guys, which trade this week? Merritt and Butters to Whitfield and Ash, and use McCarthy as a bench loop. See bloody Jordy nodding his head as soon as he heard Ash. He's like, yeah, do it. And use McCarthy as a bench loop with Rosie, or McCarthy and May to Whitfield and 230k Rook and Luke Butters and Merritt. So Jordy, I've got to go for you this one because you've got Ash in there. Which option from which Sean's gone there? Where would you be going?
Yeah, I like it. I can flick Merritt and Butters, go both Whitfield Ash, and he's still got McCarthy there for Rosie cover. I think Rosie will play this week. I think he's going to play. He wasn't on the injury report today. He wasn't even a test. There was nothing. It was just like sort of going.
Yeah, it's
like
just illness.
Yeah, it's just like nothing's happened. So yeah, I think he's going to play. Whitfield and Ash, like they got the Green Mile coming up. So I reckon go to both of them.
I'm probably leaning towards that as well. Get aggressive, just because Merritt, he's got probably Mullen coming up this week. If not, because part of me thinks, well, O'Connor did the job last time, but maybe they want to get Mullen to do a couple of jobs in the lead up to finals. There's probably a good point just to do it in a game where they're expecting.
After what Mullen did to Butters, I'd be staggered if they didn't send Mullen to Merritt. I would be staggered.
Yeah, it is Geelong. We know Geelong can do some different things, and they don't always do what we think they're going to do. So it will be interesting to see what they do. But yeah, and then he goes St Kilda. We saw Windhager sort of just not tag and all of a sudden tag Cozzy. So you could just see all of a sudden that they do the job there. So yeah, like Merritt, I just thinking the Essendon team's always ceiling's just capped a bit. And then Butters, we mentioned as well that he's probably got O'Meara this week, or if not Wagner, if he comes back into the team, and with Port struggling as well. You want to go to Whitfield and Ash, where Giants have got a lot to play for, and both of them are pumping out some some good scores there. So I agree. I think I'd be going for that option there. But both are good options, Sean. You probably can't go wrong, I don't think, with either, to be honest. Got a super chat here from Corey Blackledge. Thank you, mate. It's a generous one there as well. Had a 2080 score this week. Had my worst week. Didn't emergency marshal. And Buslinger, covering Rosie, had 2 donuts and didn't realise who to trade first, Taranto and Rosie in one combo, or Teakle and McCarthy. So, Jordox, where would you be going there? Would you be going Taranto and Rosie, or wait, hang on, who to trade first, Taranto and Rosie in one combo, or Teakle and McCarthy? Yeah, so you trading like 2 sideways in Taranto and Rosie, or are you going a Teakle down and McCarthy up, or vice versa?
So is he saying who to trade first, Taranto and Rosie?
Yeah,
or Teakle and McCarthy?
Or Teakle and McCarthy, yeah. Probably got to be the last one,
Teakle and
doesn't
McCarthy.
it?
Yeah. Because
Sherry's back.
Sherry will be back for North. I mean, McCarthy was great. But Taranto should be back, and Rosie will play. Yeah, I think that's, But that's a rough week, Corey. That is very rough.
Condolences there for that one, Corey. That is a tough one, that's for sure. And we also have a super chat from Sean Crinland. So thank you very much, mate. Forgot to put my question in, but that's okay, mate. You chucked it in there, so we'll read out, mate. We appreciate the generous super chat there, saying, is Callaghan an option with the GW West run home, and could you consider trading out Brayshaw? Was looking at going Brayshaw to Sinclair or Callaghan, and Parker or Petrarca to Dan Curtin. So, Jordy, want to get your thoughts firstly on Finn Callaghan, and then just with Andrew Brayshaw, also want to get your thoughts on him, because I looked at his stats. He's had 1 ton in his last 6, and that was a 138 against Hawthorn, who he loves playing against. Every other game has been pretty bang average, 80s and 90s, and we probably haven't really given him too much flack because he's been pretty good all year, but his last 6 weeks haven't been too great. So firstly, your thoughts on Callaghan, and then your thoughts on Brayshaw, and then we'll go into the trades.
Yep. I'm just looking at Callaghan now. He's actually been pretty good. Last 5 average of 98, though. So that's probably the only flag. He's got obviously a good run, but I think, an M7 or M8 at the moment, I think it's at a 102. So he's going at 98. So he's probably just unders. But as a pod, the just thing with Callaghan is he, I don't know, he always just screams to me as a bit more of an impact player.
Bit
and
more
maybe
better
not
player
one
in real
life
than fantasy,
So yeah, but the thing is, I don't think he's gonna hurt you. Like, the lowest he's gone is 87. It's just, he's probably just unders for a top 8 mid. So I'd probably prefer Sinclair, just because of the run, and he's got Richmond and Essendon in the next 2, and it's basically his ball. But yeah, I was a bit worried last week, but obviously he got a bit of attention. Sinclair did, and I don't think he's going to get that this week.
Yeah, Constanti was the one that went to him there, so that I'm not too concerned with Sinclair. I think he'll still go well. And then Brayshaw.
Yeah, so Brayshaw, I don't know what's happened. Is it, is he sore? Obviously Hayden Young has come in the last 3 weeks, but obviously he's injured now. And I'm just going to have a look, because I know Brayshaw has been a bit of a tackler, but has his tackles... So that big one you're talking about, he had 14 tackles. The West Coast game, he had 2, but he still had 8 tackles last week. So that's a good sign. I don't know what's going on with Brayshaw. Like, obviously Hayden Young is the only clear thing that I can see, but he's out now. The CBAs are still there. Does he have a niggle or something? Maybe. And he's pushing through. I know the traders are trading. One of them's trading Brayshaw this week, so you can definitely get aggressive with it. So you can't. Yeah, if it's luxury season at the moment, so you could trade him, but I mean it's very luxury. I think I'm just gonna hold at the moment, and I can't really pick why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah, I think I agree. I'm probably keeping Brayshaw. Like, I know he hasn't been amazing the last 6 weeks, but I think Port this week, I think he'll go quite well. We saw what Geelong did last week, and I think you're probably holding him there for the time being. So, but yeah, George, just to put a bow on it, Brayshaw. Are you ticking off, though, Brayshaw to Sinclair and then one of Petrarca or Parker to Dan Curtin? Or do you think it might be better to maybe go like a rookie down and then maybe do one of the forward trades and just hold Brayshaw?
Yeah. What's your thoughts on? I know you're a Parker owner, Bales, and you want to jump off, but you're holding, I think.
No, he's certainly in amongst the trade plans. We'll go through mine. Well, our trade plans at the end, but he's definitely in the gun. I wouldn't be wanting to keep Parker. He had a ton last week, yes, but they got flogged this week. Sheasel had a lot more CBAs. Wardlaw was back in; he had CBAs, and Parker was the fourth guy in there, and he only had the 10 CBAs. A lot of forward time. I'm not sure if that rolls. It's going to change week to week, right? And anyone that is signed up to the Lemon League, which if you haven't done it this year, I'd highly consider doing it next year. A lot of, I think my rise up the ranks has got a lot to do with Lemon's advice. So shout out to Lemon there. But he was saying that these players that have got the roles that can just change sort of game to game, quarter to quarter, aren't the players we want in fantasy. And I feel like Parker's a bit like that. He'll have quarters where he'd be in the mids, and he scored 32 points in the first quarter last week, was in the midfield. Then he went forward and he scored 29 points for the remainder of the game in 3 quarters. That's not acceptable even for a forward. So I think he's definitely the one that goes. And I don't actually hate the idea of going for a Dan Curtin because they've got West Coast and then North Melbourne in the last game. So I actually don't hate that as a bit of a pod in the forward line. He could certainly do worse there. But I guess if you're not doing the Brayshaw to Sinclair or Callahan, maybe you just go a rookie down there, maybe go to Grind Myers, Matt Kennedy, one of those guys that got a good matchup or two coming up there. So, don't mind that one. Jordox, were you going to say something there? It looked like you were about to say something.
No, I just took a big breath.
No. There you go. Sneaker Fusion says, who's the best option under 920K, Jordox? I'll give you a moment to sort of quickly look at the price and see what you think. But he's saying trying to get Flanders up to a primo and might downgrade Rosie depending on whether he plays. So I think that is a good call. I think Flanders has done just, again, 56 last week against Richmond. That's not acceptable. He's got to go up. So for 920K, who don't you mind? Because if you're going to a defender, a few people are trading him out, but I don't actually hate the idea of a Bailey Dale. People jumping off in now. He now goes Melbourne and West Coast. He's sort of one that, for me, comes up. No, Jordy. Do not mention Tom Green, who he just put on the screen for anyone that's watching on the YouTube video. But if people listen to the
he's
pod,
918K.
Tom Green. No, we'll talk about Tom Green soon, but don't.
That is cheap.
Under 920K, Jordox. Anyone that tickles your fancy?
Yeah, just looking at the defenders. Dale's cheap, but I don't know. I do like that run. Midfield, you got, let's see. Nothing really jumps out. Geez, Paddy Cripps was good yesterday, the other day. He's 858.
Yep.
For a big, could get him for a big few weeks. Who steps up at Brisbane? Lockie Deal's out. Is it a Jared Berry? Is it a Will Ashcroft? Jump on someone like that. How much?
Obviously, he's too expensive, but yes, Dunkley, I think, gets maybe a little bump.
What about
What's
George
Ashcroft?
Hewitt?
Ashcroft is 950.
Warnie's boy, Georgie Hewitt, Super Huey.
Well, he's got Gold Coast.
What's his
week.
price?
Matchup.
What's his price?
905K.
I don't mind that. He's got who is it this week? They got
Gold Coast
this week. Gold Coast, then they go Port Adelaide, then Essendon. That's a good 3-week run. I don't mind that.
That's a good run.
And he's got the role, and we'll see if Chera's in or not, or Walsh. I think Walsh is soon, but he'll probably go to Rao this week, right? Hewitt, so do a cooler role. So I don't know. He's been scoring, so he could be a good pod. But Tom Green, I reckon Tom Green. I don't know. I was off him, but now I've sort of gone. I reckon he's going to bounce back.
But what's his story? What's he up to?
You've mentioned You've mentioned Tom Green. So now I've got to talk about Tom Green. That's fantastic. So he's been shit since the mid-season bye. Let's put it that way, right? He's had 5 games, a 104 against West Coast, where he saved that score with a 50-odd point last quarter with like 6 marks, which he's had 7 marks over the last 4 weeks combined. 3 of those games have been 1 mark, right? Then he scores 79 against Geelong, who he had a 130 against earlier in the year. Then he goes 110 against Essendon, who are completely decimated, and he was top scorer in that game. Sydney scores a 72, and then Bulldogs 67. I'm not trading into him. He could have. He's got an amazing run. North Melbourne, Gold Coast, St Kilda. I think Callaghan, I thought would be a positive for him, but it's actually a negative because Callaghan gets the ball and just gets meterage and goes forward. Whether it's a good thing or bad thing, sometimes he turns over, sometimes he doesn't. But he's such a good player that he's so quick, and it almost is like Tom Green is like that. I can't remember who I heard talk about it. Said that he's very much like that stay-at-home midfielder that stays in the middle of the ground and doesn't do much besides handball in around the clearance work and get the odd maybe mark a few. And he doesn't. If he tackled like Dunkley, he'd be different, but he doesn't. So he doesn't tackle. He doesn't mark. He gets 25 touches, but he scores a 67. And in comparison, Jordan Dawson had 21 disposals, and he went over and scored 125. And Dawson's been a guy that's gone the season with only 2 games over 30 touches and still averaging nearly essentially 110. So there's just a difference with fantasy midfielders, with the Dunkleys, the Bonts, the Dawsons, where they fill all the stat lines. Tom Green doesn't. So for me, I don't want any part of Tom Green. Either you boys agree or disagree with that, because I might hold, but I'm really tempted to trade.
Well, it's a shock and run, and you sound like you might have him in your side, Bales. Just sensing that it's slightly. So I'm hearing a lot of what you're saying. I still am trying to work out why. Like, this isn't Tom Green. Like,
it's the Giants game style. It's either Callaghan or it's Ash or Whitfield, and they get the ball and they use it transition. They go through the wings, or they just completely bypass Tom Green. It's just the way it's going at the moment.
Yeah. Well, you can't argue with much of that, and the scores are the scores. So, yeah. And then what about in the forward line?
I guess the positive for people that have got him is he's got North Melbourne and Gold Coast, and they are green or mega green and green in the next 2 matchups. And North Melbourne, you think that he should go, if he can go well against Essendon, you'd think he should go well this week, and he probably tons up. So you probably hold if you've got him, but I wouldn't be targeting him. I'd rather go for George Hewitt, who's someone that can rack up the tackles and get a few marks around the ground as well.
Yeah.
Would we be in agreement there? If you had to pick between Hewitt and Green, we'd be going Hewitt?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, you'd have to, and on current form, yeah.
The only other one, Bales, is your man, Matt Kennedy, at 877K.
Good option.
There's a forward. If you needed me, just have it extra. They're probably your best 3 options, I reckon. Jordan
Clark. You jumped on him last week, Jordy. He's exactly 920. So if Sneaker Fishing can go there as well, I wouldn't be going for Sarong.
I'm not sure on Clark, but yeah, I do have him. But for me, like
you're not sure on him, but you trade him in. I like it.
Yeah, it was the only option. But like for me, like I don't have Sheasel, so like I need Sheasel next week because they play Richmond. So see how Clark goes, because otherwise he'll probably just go to Sheasel.
Yeah. Oh, I hope that's answered your question, Sneaker Fusion. I hope that does help some other people out, because I think a few people, if they're trying to get up a Jack Martin, if they can go to another position, if they're trying to get up a Flanders and McCarthy, a lot of people are going to be shopping in that area, because it's a bit of a gap between, like, I guess that your really, really strong options you're looking at. Like the cheapest strong options, probably like a Grind Myers at 960 there. And then you got like Whitfield at 967, Sinclair 977. You got to go up to get there. So like you need a bit of money.
Can we talk about Grind Myers for a sec? You boys seeing what's happening with him?
Yeah, CBAs.
High CBAs.
I think he's
3 weeks in a row. High midfield minutes.
I think he's almost one of the top trade-in targets this week if you can get there. Like if you can go, maybe not Petrarca now, but McRae, if you want to go away from him, if Steele was a sub last week, would shock me if he was a sub there. If you got a Jack Ross, Jack Martin, if you can get all the way up to Grind Myers, I think
Mason Wood.
Yeah, if you can get Mason Wood up to him, I think that's a good move. Well, George, you're the one that want to talk about him. You obviously like what you've seen the last 3 weeks, and he's now got Essendon, Sydney, not great, but then Richmond. So 2 of the next 3 are really, really good.
It's a wicked run, as we know. And I think one of the reasons I've never been that hot on him in his sort of half forward up the ground role is that, you know, it wouldn't take too much for him to have a poor game and score a 50 or a 60. But if he's playing centre bounces, I just see his basement scores lifting right up, and
Could be some
we know what his
ceiling
ceiling
scores
is. Yeah.
with these.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of him this week as well. I'll be trying to find the money.
I was supposed to get him last week over Clark, and then Rosie was out, so I had to pivot.
Yes.
Oh well. Yeah. But yeah, I like him too.
Gotta love fantasy at times, that's for sure. Regular Poet says, who to trade out of Butters, Merritt, Zorko, or Petrarca? So, Jordy, if you had to rank those in terms of trade out priority, is it Merritt one with the tag, Zorko with the List Frank thing he's got to manage week to week? Or I think almost Petrarca's almost last just because he's in the forward line.
Yeah, so let's talk, because this is sort of my dilemma. I've got Merritt, and I can loop him, but what do you think Merritt can go if he's going to get a Mullen tag? Like we saw Butters get 34. Surely Merritt is not dropping a 34. Or
he's
do
not
you
dropping
see
34, but he's not dropping much.
Yeah. So if he's going to drop a 60 maybe, a 70? The thing is Merritt
maybe 70.
Is high C. The thing that's different is high CBAs now. He's basically the only, he's the number one guy. So that's what I thought with Butters, even with the tag. He's the main midfielder. Surely, you can just grab some extra tackles or handballs or something, even with a tag. But obviously Butters couldn't, do much at all. He had 10 touches. So it's probably Merritt, isn't it? Just with what Mullen has done with that track record. I'm just so unsure on what to do with Merritt. Can he get a 70, 80 and that's okay and hold him or loop him? Or do I got to jump off?
Yeah, I think Merritt's a good 20, almost 23rd premium if you can keep it there, because Essendon will have a lot of early games for the rest of the year. If you can make him a 23rd, he's got a high ceiling that if he doesn't get tagged, he could pop a score. But if he's on field, I'm happy trading. I think that even his ceiling, to an extent, even though I said he's got a big ceiling, it is capped at the moment with the way Essendon are playing, and obviously with all the injuries. So I'm in favour of trading him. But Zorko's also for me just someone. They've got so many important games that I don't think he's going to get rested, but I feel like he's going to get managed in game. List Frank injury. If anything bad happens with that, it could be season over for him. So I sort of worry. They're probably my top two, and then Butters is probably in the next bracket. So, Jordox, to sort of wrap up that one, who would you trade out of or how'd you rank those four?
Who were the four again? Merritt,
Butters, Petrarca, and Zorko.
Yeah, the Zorko one makes me nervous. No, you know what? I'll go Merritt. I reckon if Zorko's named and he's playing, then we just have to assume he's fine, because Brisbane would be really silly to take risks with him heading into September. So, yeah, Merritt. I can't see.
Zorko,
I can't see Merritt getting higher than 80 this week. What's that, Jordy?
Yeah, I think Zorko's 300th game is round 24. So I'm wondering if they're just mad. They're just, he's got this injury, managing him 300 games. Oh, but they got finals. But yeah, I don't know. I do agree.
Chasing a top two spot, that would be crazy if that was on their mind. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Next question we'll go to is from Lee Everett. Do you guys think Teal can hold his spot as second ruck, or will he get dropped? He could hold his spot, but I don't think it matters. I think he has to go. It's Cherry's come back in, so he's just got to go. He's going to put up a lower score. I did see Lindsay Blight put in the chat before saying, could one of there you go, will North tag a half back again this week? So Ash or Whitfield. So Jordy, any worries for your boy Ashy?
Jeez, he's like the same type of player as Sinclair as well, Ash, I reckon. He reminds me so much of Sinclair, and Costanzi did that job, didn't he, on Sinclair? So maybe. But Yeah, I mean, I watched that game Thursday night. Ash actually tried to get them going, and his run and carry. He actually tried to get the game. He made a couple of mistakes, but he actually, he probably is the one maybe to put attention to. So you can't really rule that out. Could happen.
Yeah, it is a flag for sure. It is a flag. That's for sure. What do we got here? Bryce Jones. Thoughts on Thilthorpe with West Coast and North coming up as an option instead of Cameron? Jordox,
I was looking at this.
Is there any interest in Big Riley, the thrill seeker, as they call him? Any interest there? I would take you obviously with the no crows goggles, but
my interest in Thilthorpe is immeasurable. But in fantasy, I reckon you could. I really do. He's just that hot at the minute. His marking is great, and he's chopping out in the ruck. And what is he? He's about 60K cheaper than Jezza. It's bold, but I like it.
They have to be 23rd on surely. I don't know. I don't know.
He had a 113 against West Coast in round 11.
Yeah.
So you probably have faith putting him on field because it's the last game. Put him on field this week, and then next week they play Collingwood on Saturday night. So if you can try and loop him maybe on that game, that would.
I do wonder if there's better options around the price, safer options, but I don't mind it. I think, I think he'll get to 70s and 80s at least in the form he's in.
Yeah. Well, Lou O'Leary's saying have to get rid of Teagle and can only get him up to anyone 835K or less can be any position. So obviously that's we're sort of chatting. Obviously, Will Thilthorpe certainly I think fits under that price if I'm not mistaken. I'm just having a look here. Dan Curtin's 8K more than that, but 835. Is there anyone that you boys sort of like there? Yeah, Jordy, go.
I was actually so obviously Bergman's out now for Port. So that was the first game. So Willem Drew and Wines went nuts on the weekend because they're taking more CBA time. So Willem Drew is very cheap. He came out with a 120, quite risky. Wines potentially safer, but he's probably out of that price bracket. But yeah, Bergman is out now.
Yeah, just quick with Wines, I couldn't go there just with the heart thing. If it just flared up in a game, we've seen Port will submit pretty much straight away. That's the only thing that would concern me. Yeah,
the only other one is maybe Sicily. He was looking pretty good early, and then I think the Crows took control, but he's there as well, and you could loop him as well Thursday night. But he's definitely looking better. 182 and 110 last 2 weeks.
What about
I don't mind that
the guy from the first half of the year, Ryan Marrick? He's back to half back. Scored a nice ton on the weekend. And I think it was an 88 the week before, maybe. Oh, no, the week before wasn't as good, but the role was there.
And he took the most kick-ins again, said 6 kick-ins, so they've clearly shifted back to him there. So, a couple of shouts there. Hopefully that does help you there, Lou, with a couple of those options. Next question we'll go to is from plenty of questions flying through. Mo says, Jordox, Petrarca to Myers or McCarthy to Hewitt or anyone 933K or under. So would you rather McCarthy on field and then have Myers, or would you prefer to hold Petrarca and go McCarthy to Hewitt? So it really comes down to Petrarca and Hewitt or Myers and McCarthy. That's a really good question.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
If it helps you, Petrarca's up against the Doggies and Hewitt is up against who can't go again?
Gold Coast.
Gold Coast, that's the one. And then Myers has got Essendon and McCarthy's got the Crows.
I just love Myers, so I'll probably lean towards that.
It's very tight.
Yeah, but that's a great question. It's a real coin toss. I mean, you'd think, no, you don't play the kid McCarthy, but yeah, I'm just really really into Myers. And then Petrarca, we still don't know. I mean, he may end up in the same role and scoring 70, 80. Yeah, I'll stick with Myers and McCarthy.
Jordy, what do you think? Because I think it's a good question. I want to get your thoughts.
Yeah. Well, my first instinct was Myers straight away because I thought, he's I'm with Jordox. He's just like seems to be the number one guy this week. But then thinking about it, I was like, well, if Hewitt can go a 110 and Petrarca can actually bounce back, maybe you do get more points from that trade. But in this scenario, if I'm sort of not sure, I'd probably just pick the player that I like or sort of have a bit of a gut feel on. And that was, for me, my first instinct was just like Myers. So I just go with your gut, I think, because I think it's pretty tight. I think a lot of people jump on Myers. So if you want to sort of match, Myers will be, I think, quite highly traded, and a lot of top coaches have him. Hewitt's obviously a pod, so it depends which way you want to go.
Yep. Yeah, I feel like the safer play is probably Petrarca and Hewitt. So Mo, depends what you're looking for. If you need the real upside, maybe it's Myers and McCarthy. But if you need the safer play, it's probably Petrarca and Hewitt. But it's a good question. Good one there. Sean Cridlin, who sent the super channel before, says, thanks, guys. Current rank 207. So best year by far.
Nice.
Been listening to the pods every week, thinking I'll go Myers from Parker and a rookie downgrade. Thanks. Yep, I think we're all ticking those trades off,
Nice one.
I reckon. Corey also said, looks like Lord will be tagging again. So that's obviously a bit of a flag for
Nando's.
Your boy, Nando. And
you'll go to him, definitely.
Then maybe Zach Butters again the week after. So that could be a couple of ones there.
Do we talk about Lord? Lord's a pretty cheap option who scores well when he's in the middle.
I don't think it's this time. I don't think it's this time of year to be playing with guys like him. I think we're trying to get up to the players we want, the Myers, the Whitfields, guys like that.
As an F7 play, you'd say, hey.
Yeah. Stu, so how about McCluggage with Neil out, Jordy? What are your thoughts about the human luggage with Neil out? Could you go there?
Yeah, I actually think you can. Last week I was looking at trades like I thought maybe I'd have 930k as about that, and it was either like, okay, I could get McRae or I could get like a McCluggage, and I was like, if he drops down to that price, I would be tempted by it. But obviously he came out and smashed, I think, a 119, so he didn't drop quite down. But I don't know, I didn't see the game, but Footy Show on Sunday highlighted how good he was and how effective he was. So, there was a bit of highlight there. Neil's out now with a quad, so someone has to take that role. I just wonder, they're playing Sydney this week. James Jordan has the tag. Yeah, who's he going to go to? Clug's just had a great week.
They're definitely going to him. They'll definitely go to him now.
Yeah, they said how damaging his kicks were. There was this unreal kick that he kicked into the 50. I don't know if you saw it.
I watched.
I think Jordan might go to him. That's the only flag.
Yeah,
even a few weeks ago, I don't know who they were playing, but they tagged McCluggage over Neil. So yeah, I think he's risky now that Neil's not there.
I think if you're going for any Brisbane midfielder, it's Josh Dunkley. He's back in form and looking really, really good. So I reckon you're going there. Emma Hartis, Jordox, is asking, who goes first out of Tom Green, Zach Butters, Chris Petrarca, or Jack McRae? And then we'll ask about who to bring in shortly. So who goes first out of Green, Butters, Petrarca, or McRae?
I'm pretty worried about McRae. I'm pretty worried about his... What was his CBAs? Let me just see if there was a big drop there. I think it was a slight drop.
His Tom and Graham was 66%.
Yeah.
Do you reckon it's
CBAs are fine.
Yeah.
Still
200th. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. He's just feeling like a bit sub-risk at the moment, isn't he? And I would have thought that, but if they're going to make Jack Steele a starting sub, there's no there's no limits to what they'll do to destroy our fantasy side. So I reckon I'd probably drop McRae out of that lot.
Yeah, the good thing is they play earlier Saturday, so you might be able to. Well, you wouldn't be able to see. You'd be able to see if he's sub if he ever did that. But you're right. If he's getting 60% tog, like he could be subs. I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, they may just look to rest him in game, and which is a shame because he was looking so good earlier in the year.
Yeah, I think I'm actually Zach Butters out of them. I think with the
talk to me about that. Why are we so cold on Butters? I mean, it was obviously it was his lowest disposal tally since 2020. I can tell you that much. But before that, 3 out of 4 tons. They got the Dockers, the Blues, and the Suns. I don't think it's a terrible run. It's just. What are you thinking, Bales?
I just don't think. I think Butters is almost checked out for the year. It's just okay. Had a couple of good scores in the last few weeks with the 119, 125, 115, but those have been. He hasn't had the same ceiling that we've seen from him in previous years. He's going to, because Horne-Francis is out and then Rosie's not in the midfield. He's the clear number 1 tag target. If you shut him down out of the midfield, that supports midfield pretty much done. And I just think that Freo need to win, and they need to win well because they need percentage. So they're just going to go O'Meara or Wagner, shut off Butters. Carlton will think that they can win that game, and they want to get a couple of wins before the end of the year. They're going to go, let's shut Butters out. Final game of the year against Gold Coast might be fine, but I don't like that. Green's got a better run. Petrarca and McRae. If McRae's sub, we'll know because it's his first game on the Saturday. He would go. I just think that against Richmond and then Petrarca both being forwards, I just think Butters, you can get a better upgrade. That's probably where I'm leaning to. I think fair. I think they're the guys that you're probably looking at, probably Butters or McRae if you're trading. And then who to bring in out of Dawson, Ash, Dunkley, Jezza, or Myers. So, Jordy, where would you go for them there? So, like Dawson's got a great run now, but the only flag I raise is that Crows manage players in game, and Dawson feels like a guy that if they're up by 10 goals last quarter, he could just get a 15-minute rest. Ash, does he get any attention? Dunkley's got tough matchups, but looking good. And then you got Jezza and Myers who've got Essence. So have you got anyone in particular that you sort of like out of those 5 options?
They're all great, aren't like they're all top guys that you probably all want in your side come the end of the year. So it's really tricky to pick, unless you said there's small flags with all of them. I guess like Myers and Jez are just sort of with the matchups. There's that there, but also Dawson has been like, what's Dawson averaging for the year? He is averaging 109.
He overtook Nick Dacos for the M1, which I'm very, very happy about. I'd love to see Dawson finish as the M1.
Yeah, so he's M1 for the year. So it's like, if you've got a chance to get him, like, do you just grab him this week? I know he's got West Coast. Does he get a rest? It's still Jordan Dawson. So
he could score 115 in. He scored what did he score on the weekend? He scored 114 points in 3 quarters, right? Even if he plays 3 and a bit quarters, he still might go 120, 130.
Yeah, and also the week after you guys play Collingwood at home,
and he loves playing Collingwood.
That's a big game, and he's a big game player. He'll probably go nuts that game. So he's probably a good
Dawson,
player.
I think.
Yeah, I think you got the chance to get him, and you don't know what carnage and stuff. I think, I probably wouldn't be surprised if he gets rested a little bit, but he should still turn up. I think Collingwood next week he will be very good.
Yeah, I think I'm Dawson as well, even though I did put out that flag, Jordox.
I'd be Myers out of that crew. But, it's a good lot. But I like Myers.
Yeah, I think Dawson. I think, as you say, they're all good options. So I don't think you can really go wrong either. Meme Dealer says, hey, Bales, can you tell the trade-out order for Petrarca, Butters, Rosie, Merritt? This is very similar to what we answered before, but I think I'm... I think I'm Merritt just ahead of. Actually, but Phil, you can loop Merritt a couple of times. It's one of Merritt or Butters, I think. Geez, that's a tricky one. Jordox, is there any way Rosie or Butters you'd sort of, sorry, not Rosie, Butters or Merritt you'd lean towards? 'Cause I think if Rosie's out, it's him, but I think that there's no indication at the moment that he's not going to play. Is it Butters or Rosie? So keep saying Rosie. Is it Butters or Merritt?
Butters or Merritt? Merritt for me.
Yeah, geez.
I think I'm Merritt. I think I'm Merritt as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's yeah, you just don't know with the primos. Butters, I agree, but then Boak retired. That last game against Gold Coast, he probably will go massive. Send everyone off,
Yeah,
far
I'm optimistic.
up for
Butters.
Yeah,
I'm optimistic. Butters can bounce back. I reckon he'll be all right. Trade
Merritt. I think out of those ones there. Will Bite saying Petrarca, Rankin, Butters, Rosie, order of trade outs. So Jordox, where would you go? Petrarca, Rankin, Butters, or Rosie? I think Rosie, if he's playing, is probably last.
Yeah, Rosie's fine.
Normally we'd say Rankin's first, but he's got West Coast and North Melbourne in two of his last three. So it's like, if you've still got Rankin, do you just hold him at F6, or could this be a game where he gets rested one of the games?
No, I think you hold him. Saved his score on the weekend, scored half his score in the last quarter. But that was an interesting thing because they put him in the middle and, he did his damage forward kicking goals. But, no, I reckon Rankin could have some fun the next few weeks. Keep Rosie. So then Petrarca or who?
Butters. I think it's Butters.
So Petrarca then.
Petrarca for you?
For me. But I like your point before when, with McRae, like if it's Petrarca, who are you going to get? Whereas if it's Butters, there's more options.
I feel like it's Petrarca if you don't have Myers or Kennedy, probably they're the two, or Baz, one of those three. But if you've got those three and Petrarca's there, I think it's Butters out. I think is that probably a good way to summarize that one?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Dylan Jones, will Butters get tagged against Gold Coast? No, Gold Coast don't tag. Dimmer's never been one to tag there. Stern says Bales and Boys. Could we do that? It sounds like almost like a band name for that one there. Bales and the Boys.
Bales and the Jordys.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Bales and the Jordy Boys. That's nice. That's our name from now on.
Yeah. What do you actually on Hat Chat Live last week? I think was it Decent that were asking? So there was a question that said what would be the band name for us, and I think that Fantasy Fanatics were called the Beach Boys, or something like that. Which is I didn't mind that one actually. Don't mind the Beach Boys, but back onto fantasy. So Stearns is saying Merritt or Butters to Goulden or Myers. Jordy.
Oh, look, I've looked at Merritt to Myers today, so I'm going to go with that. That's what I texted you, Bales, that exact move.
Yeah. I think it probably is that one, I'm just thinking, oh no, you probably wouldn't have enough cash. I was going to say, could you just do both trades and not do the other one? But I think you probably won't have enough cash there. So yeah, I probably think Merritt to Myers. Like Goulden's probably a good option next week when he's got Geelong into West Coast. So I'd probably get Myers for the sugar hit this week. Limits, Ash or Nasiah? Sorry, Jordy, I know you love Ash, but it's got to be Naz.
There's a flag. It's got to be Naz. Yeah.
You need Naz. He's got
Richmond
and then Essendon.
You just need him. He's just under 1.2. I still don't have him. Do I kill myself to get him this week, or do I just move on?
Yeah. We'll
he's probably a captain
trades very shortly, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
he would be a captain VC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, probably goes 140 this week.
Jeez, we've got heaps of questions coming through. What we'll do, we've got 5 minutes to go. We'll do a bit of rapid fire to get through these questions.
Yeah.
Will Bot's got a super chat here, so we'll just answer this one and then we'll go rapid fire. So he's going, rank Petrarca. Oh, we did this one. Rank Petrarca, Butters, Rosie, Rankin in trade outs. Other trade would be Tyroo down to Newen, thinking Whitfield as main trade in thoughts. I hope that we answer that. But if you're going Whitfield, well, if you can trade one of those forwards, you've probably got a forward in your mids. So I'd probably trade Petrarca and put whichever forward that's in your mid and go Petrarca to Whitfield. But if you can't do that, Butters to Whitfield could be a play there. But doing the Tyroo down to Newen is a good trade there. Geez, Papa Rondad says 25-46 last week. Ranked 67 for the week. That's a massive week. Is the priority getting Cameron as F7 loop with Chad Warner, or do I get out Colby, who on paper is my worst play, and getting up to anyone? I would be looking at the Cameron F7 one with Chad Warner. That's a really good play. Colby has done nothing wrong. I partly wish I held because he looked pretty good on the weekend. He's got Giants this week, not great. Then he goes Richmond. So I'd be still holding him, I reckon. Right, so let's go through some rapid fire. So Agia1 says, would you get rid of Libba, Dylan Moore, or Petrarca first? Jordox. Libba, Moore, or Petrarca?
Rapid. Let me look at Libba. I'd hold Dylan Moore. I'd say that. Oh, yeah, Libba out. Yeah,
I'd probably agree there as well. XD Rippo, Jordy, rank of outs, please, fellas. Mills, Rosie, Will Ashcroft, Libba, Petrarca, Warner. So I'll go Mills or Rosie.
Oh, geez. Mills. But
Will Ashcroft, where does he go in that, for those two? Does he go last because he probably has that bump with Neil out and won't probably get the tag?
I'd probably prefer Mills over Ashcroft. Or is this separate?
No, just rank out. We're just ranking them in order just to make it easier. So you go Will Ashcroft out before Mills.
Yeah, Mills is doing a pretty fine job at the moment. And I think if Rosie's going to play, he'll be good. I think he'll be fine. So yeah, I think Ashcroft's ahead. I know Neil's out, but I think Mills hasn't done anything wrong.
Yeah, I like the way you said that. He's done a fine job. That was a good one. Libba.
Probably.
Yeah, he can go.
He can go. Him and Ashcroft, 1 and 2.
Yeah, and then Petrarca, Warner probably a little bit down this because they're forwards, I reckon. So so it's I think Will
maybe
Ashcroft
in between.
and Libba and Will Ashcroft are probably the ones there. Maybe Libba first, just with Will Ashcroft getting that bump there. Next one, your boy Zenith Jordox, thoughts on Petrarca to Neil Bullen and Green to Whitfield. Green to Whitfield, I think, gets a tick from us, but Petrarca Neil Bullen, he's the number one averaging forward over the last, 5 weeks or something?
Oh, his last three. He's been really strong. Yeah. He could do it. I reckon he could finish the season with some big scores. I mean, the form he's in, he hasn't even kicked that many goals. So yeah, maybe. I think it's pretty risky though.
So you'd probably just do a bit of a rookie downgrade and do Green to Whitfield if you're looking at there.
Probably, but it's the time of the year to go for it, and why not? I think he can. I think he can keep doing what he's doing for a few more weeks. That's for sure.
Yeah. Clinton Jonas, Jordy, list of priorities of trading out. So a lot of people trade out, so this is the theme of the questions tonight. Rosie, Flanders, Petrarca, Brayshaw. I think
Flanders
is the one. Yep, for sure.
He got
Flanders
what did he get, 40 or something?
56 against Richmond.
Yeah,
I think it's Flanders, Petrarca, Brayshaw, Rosie, or Rosie, Brayshaw. One of the probably they're the two. But I think it's Flanders, Petrarca at the top. John Sanders, Petrarca, McRae, or Butters first to go, Jordy.
McRae.
Yeah, if Butters can go, if he goes Butters out though, he can go Dunkley. If one of the forwards, it's Myers. So is it McRae or Petrarca to Myers or Butters to Dunkley?
Yeah, go
Myers.
McRae to Myers, I reckon.
Yeah,
I think that's probably where I'm leaning as well. Thoughts on Callaghan and Sean Manor? I think we chatted about Callaghan beforehand, but Manor, Jordox, been good.
Yeah, we were talking about him a few weeks ago. I wasn't too keen. What's he done since? Yeah, he's been okay. What's he priced at? 870. Oh, yeah. Look, I'd say no, but he could have a good few weeks. So, yeah.
No. Defenders, bro. OMG, bro. I've been skipped so many times. Well, I'm sorry, mate. There's a lot of questions going through, but we'll answer it now. Should I save some cash and go Jezza, then next week go Tom Green to Dunkley, or go all out and get Myers? I would just lock in Myers this week and deal with the potentially Tom Green next week. Because if Tom Green goes a ton,
Tom Green 100.
I'll be holding.
Yeah.
So Jordy messaged me that a couple of days ago. So hopefully that's what happens. But no, get Myers. Because then also Casey John said Myers or Cameron. I think we're all saying Myers for the safety. And the midfield role? Yep.
You got the money, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of nods ahead there. Flying Cow, McCarthy to Whitfield, Merritt to Sheasel. Oh, trades the night right there.
Tickety tick tick.
Bang, bang. I think that's the ones there. Definitely locking those in. Mick, thoughts on Merritt to Myers and Petrarca to Jezza, Jordy?
That's exactly what I was looking at today. So, yes, I like it. It's aggressive, but I do like it. Yeah, I can't figure out Petrarca, but I like it.
Yeah. Flying Cow also says Darcy Cameron up to Grundy, Liddy to Rao. Well, Flying Cow, I don't know how much money you've got because you said McCarthy to Whitfield, Merritt to Sheezer, which were great trades. Now you're saying Cameron to Grundy, Liddy to Rao. It's definitely that second one if you've somehow got like 700, 800K in the bank, which I don't know if you've got that much, but if you do, kudos to you for saving up just to spend there. So I just don't know if you've got that much. But yes, do those trades if you've got them, if you've got that much. Go probably 2 or 3 more, and then we'll wrap up. Your boy Zenith, Jordox, Petrarca or Green to Whitfield? Is it Petrarca because you've probably got a forward in your mids, just so you put that forward back?
Yeah. I'd back Green in. Yeah, Petrarca.
Yeah. XD Rippo says, same here, guys. Love your work. Thank you, mate. Very much appreciate it. And John Senna says, thanks, guys. Appreciate you answering my question. We appreciate that. Thank you very much for the kind words there. And I reckon we'll end off with these last two. Footy Frenzy, Jordy says, Teakle to Cameron. Teakle to Jezza and a rookie down, or Teakle to Jezza and Butters to Neil Bull and Guthrie or Stewart. I think it's probably the first one, isn't it?
Nah, yeah, I wouldn't play around with that. Rookie down. Definitely do Teakle to Cameron and hold Butters.
Yep, agreed. And then final one, Jordox from Chris. What rookies are we targeting this week? Also, does Dunkster trap the tags with Neil out? Actually, I'll answer this one here because we got another one here we'll probably do instead. So Chris said, was that I don't think Dunks won't get tagged because he does the tagging, so I wouldn't worry about that. And it would go to McCluggage, Will Ashcroft, and probably a couple others before Dunkley. And then rookies, 230K that are playing. I think Newen's probably the 231 if you need someone there, but I'm trying to save as much cash as possible. But Golf Alien says here in Jordan, so I'll get you to answer this one. He's like, hey, ball. He said, hey, balls. I don't know if he's meant to say Bales or boys, but he said balls. Unless he means the ball boys, but we're not the ball boys with the Fantasy Fanatics. But he's asking, kiss, marry, or have a good time with Rashida McLeod Dawson. So Jordan, I say answering that one.
Oh, geez, you've picked a weird one to answer. Kiss, marry, or F.
Well, so what I'll say is having your fantasy team, having your team for one game in your actual football team, or have dinner with. We'll do that. A little bit more PG rated.
All right. Have Dawson in my team. Go to dinner with McLeod. And what was the other one?
Rue.
Yeah, but what was the third?
Oh, you have him in your fantasy team for one game.
Let's just go with kiss, marry, and F. I'd marry Dawson because he just looks like he'd be a good fella. He'd treat me right. This is so weird. Why are we answering these questions?
What we'll do, we'll end it there before we get in any trouble. But I
love them all.
The question. Appreciate the question there, Golf Alien there. I just thought that'd be a bit of a stumbling block at the very end of the pod.
Is a strange individual.
We'll wrap up there with our current trade plans for the week on Tuesday. So, Jordox, have you got your trade plans done for us tonight?
No, I haven't. But
nope.
This is where you boys can help me out because I have got Hayden Young to deal with, the poor fella, and I really want Myers. So, yeah, I don't know where I go from there.
Have you got
rookie down, Young to Myers? Can you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Rouston down or Johnson down. That'd give me 220 plus 3. Yeah, I reckon that might do it.
I'll lock them in.
There you go.
Easy.
Kid down, Young to Myers.
Perfect. And Jordy?
Yeah, I'm really unsure at the moment. I've got Mason Wood, who's a bit of an issue, so I'm looking at Jezza in for him. But I also like Myers, and I'm worried about Merritt, so I could go aggressive.
Yep, I like it. And then my trades as well. So I'm currently going Rouston down to Charlie Edwards, the Crow boys. But I don't know if he'll get a game before the end of the year. I may, but use him as a red dot this week. And then because I just don't have any red dots on my bench at the moment, which is a little bit frustrating. Can't loot much. And then I'll be going I can actually go McCarthy all the way up to Myers, putting Parker onto the bench as a 23rd with the aim to get him up to a midfielder and then have Tom Green as a 23rd primo. Or I just go Parker up to Myers, bank 160K, and we can look at next week potentially with a couple of sideways moves. So one of those two, but Myers is coming in for me this week and a bit of a rookie shuffle there. I could have gone Tom Green to like a Matt Kennedy, but I might just back in Tom Green that he'll return to some form with a good matchup there. And Golf Alien says that helps. Thanks, guys. Well, there you go. Interesting there. But that will end off the podcast. So thank you, everyone, once again for joining us for another one. And all those people that tuned in again live and submitted all their questions. Very much appreciate that. Jordy, mate, thanks for jumping on once again. Where can the people find you?
Just Jordan DeSanta on X.
Beautiful, mate. And then we'll go for the long monologue. Jordox, where can we find you on the socials? Where can we find the Finders Keepers and the AFL Late Changes and Subs account?
Yep, so I'm on X at Jordox 2020. AFL Subs is at AFL Subs. Only a few weeks to go, and I reckon that account might be shut down next year. That's what it's sounding like. And then, Finders Keepers, my Keeper League podcast at Find Keep AFL. Episode came out today. A couple of spots in a dynasty league. Someone wrote in, went through the details of that. So if you're keen on joining a dynasty league, an existing one, tune in for the details there. And then I'm running a competition over the next few weeks, and the winner gets to join an existing keeper league with me. So if that's something that interests you, go over to Finders Keepers and check out the podcast and stay tuned.
Beautiful. Now, get involved for sure. And you can find me at BAILSDT across the socials, getting prepped not only for round 22 of the AFL fantasy season, but also my AFLW fantasy team and the AFLW fantasy season that starts next week. So for anyone that hasn't registered, make sure you go and do that, AFLWfantasy.afl, and register your team. And if you'd like to join the AFLW Fantasy Fanatics Open League, the code for that one is BI1H5QVS. That's BI1H5QVS. I'll put the code across the socials and in the descriptions of the videos coming out. We did Tom Hales, who's my co-host for the season. He did his team reveal today, and I'll be doing my team reveal on Thursday. So looking forward to that one coming out. And obviously we're just it starts not this starts Thursday week, so we're looking forward to that kicking off next week. So make sure you guys jump in with that one as well and check out all the other AFLW stuff that we've done, and also free kick stuff. That's the first stop to go to, because that's where you'll get all of your expert analysis, and hopefully me and Tom can give you some insight, but we're not as well equipped, I don't know, as the free kick, that's for sure. But yes, make sure you go and check that out. But make sure you do smash like on the video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We still got daily content throughout the remainder of the season, and then we got obviously the AFLW content stuff coming out throughout the season as well. And if you're listening back on the podcast, a 5-star rating and review would be very, very much appreciated. And follow, subscribe wherever across Spotify and Apple. And we'll catch you guys on Friday for our pre-lockout chat, and I'll be back for all the regular content throughout the week. So thanks, everyone, and have a good couple of days. See ya.
See ya.